the West Florida Baseball Academy. They go by WFBA. And your pitcher of record, Max Miller, the right-hander, he'll take a couple of warm-up tosses. Behind the plate is Nate Polanski. So Nate doing the catching. He'll manage the plays from his position. Jersey Pilgrim over on the first base side, my correction there, over in the 4 spot. Henry Brown over in the 5 spot. Tyler Rhodes in the 6 position, Brock Davies. And in the outfield over in the 7 spot, Will Langhorn. In the 8 spot, Braxton Souther. And in the 9 spot, Tanner Brock. That rounds out the defensive set for your WFBA West Florida Baseball Academy. Well, the weather a little different today. High clouds, nothing too significant. Cooler temperatures over the last couple of days. We've had some great baseball yesterday afternoon, starting of the tournament. And the Prospects, they went 2-0. And this is their 3rd and final pool play game. Coach Carlos Avila, the skipper of the club. And, of course, the WFBA staff as well. And we'll get things underway. To start things off, Charlie Blaylock. He'll swing it from the right side of the box. And Coach Ronnie heads down to the first base side. Trey will work down on the third base side. And we're ready to go. Gary puts it in play. Pool play game, final one of the tournament. Pitch on the way. And a ball just missing there, sliding off the plate. The count is 1-0. So Blaylock, leadoff man, always a threat once he gets on the bases here. Miller ready to deal. And Charlie jammed in a little bit on the hands there, fouls it off to the left side. As Blaylock steps back in, the count goes to 1-1. So a 2-1 count to Charlie Blaylock. And a ball is low, a 3-1 count. Blaylock being disciplined at the plate here as we are heading towards the 2:30 p.m. time slot out here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The 3-1 pitch. Ball 4, Blaylock, patient at the plate, didn't see what he wanted, and he'll find himself on board. Stepping in, the 2-hitter, number 4, Monster Victorio. Nateo, solid player for the Prospects, with Charlie Blaylock with good speed. And over on the first base spot, Pilgrim will hold him on. And a ball is low on the inner half of the plate. And the count is 1-0. Missing on the inside, trying to get the low strike called. Miller will have to make some adjustments here. Pilgrim holds on Blaylock from the stretch. Miller will work. Right side, ball's pulled foul. Victorio with a good barrel gets some heat on the swing, but just pulls it foul off the first base side. And Miller will even the count at 1-1. So Victorio will step back in, and a quick visit out to the mound. Polanski just making sure he gets the pitch call right. And a throw back over to Pilgrim over the first base side, and getting back in time, Charlie, no problem there. Miller just trying to keep him aware that, hey, I see you over there. Runners on the move, right side, ball's deep into the gap. Center fielder's backing up. He's got a good route on it, and he'll pull it in. So a well-hit ball, long fly out, and a good defensive play. Langhorn reels that one in, and they put up their first out. Blaylock was halfway, just in case that ball may have carried a little bit deeper. And he's back to first. Jordan Leon will step in. Runner on the move, throw down the line, strike called at the plate. Tag is on, and out at second. So a very good throw defensively. And the out, Blaylock had a good jump, but a good arm behind the plate as Polanski fires down and the tag slapped on. Strike called at the plate. High fly ball in the infield, second baseman pulling in, and that should do it right there. A 1-2-3 inning for the WFBA club. Prospects will head out on the defensive side, no score. We'll head to the bottom half of the first inning of the 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT here in Louisiana. Chris Aller with the call. We'll be right back. Well, once again, back to live action on the defensive side. The ZT Prospects will take the defense, and on the hill to start things off for the club, Mason Moeller, the left-handed hurler for the club. He'll start off pitching for the organization. Behind the plate, Cameron Walters. Over on the first base side, Jimmy Stout at second. Brandon Manavong in the third base position, Jordan Leon. Over at shortstop, Blake Barbarena. In left field, Dre Murakami. Center field, Trey Lawrence, and rounding out on the right side, Brody Taylor. Stepping in, Max Miller will be the leadoff hitter for WFBA. We're ready to go. Bottom of the first. And a strike located on the outer third of the plate. Muller will work ahead. The count is 0-1. And back-to-back, good fastball there. And the count is 0-2, so Moeller locating right away. Working here on Max Miller, the leadoff hitter. Walters sets up the 0-2 pitch. Fouled straight back. Good movement for Muller. And the count is at 1-2 to Miller. And a ball swung on, cut foul to the right side and out of play. Moeller with the 1-2 pitch. Walters sets up, and the ball gets away on the outside part of the plate, and the count goes to 2-2. As we saw yesterday and seen throughout the course of the tournament, we're very shallow here. We're only about 15 feet back behind home plate, and you've got a concrete backstop, lower wall. It's only about 3 feet. Anything comes off, it can go a million different directions, as we've seen. And another ball cut foul straight back. So Moeller, the 2-2 pitch. Strike three up the middle, a good-looking pitch. Moeller deals here, and Max Miller will have a seat as he took a look all the way up. And Moeller will get a K to start things off for the Prospects. Stepping in, Brock Davis. And Moeller locates 81-mile-an-hour fastball on the outer third of the plate. And the count is 0-1. And good pitch there, excellent movement off the plate. Backdoor pitch there at 68 miles an hour. And the count is 0-2. And Moeller comes in, missing there. The count goes to 1-2. Davis steps back in. And just missing there. Moeller thought he had him. It slid right off the plate. A little low in the zone. And the count goes to 2-2. Cameron Walters looking over to Coach Eric Ortiz, calling the pitches for the prospects. And a ball swung on, fouled off to the right side. So Moeller makes the adjustment, and Havens takes the cut, fouls it off. And we're holding it 2-2. Time is called, granted at the box. Gary, our head umpire, we've seen that not granted at times, and players step out and pitch is thrown, and strike typically called in those cases. Ball is low, the count goes full at 3-2. So Moeller taking his second batter to a full count. The 3-2 pitch. Swung on, fouled straight back. And the 3-2 battle continues here. We were locked at 2-2. And Moeller looking for an out here, one down. And Moeller steps off. He'll reset. And ball four. So Moeller misses. He tries to come in and go low and puts Brock on board. And administers his first walk here after a strikeout on the leadoff batter, Max Miller. Stepping in the three-hitter, Jersey Pilgrim. Jimmy Stout for the prospects, holding on. Long look for Moeller. And strike called there. Good movement there. Slider off the plate. The count goes to 0-1. So Brock over at first with a decent lead. Moeller with a look, pitch on the way, same pitch swung on, fouled off. So Pilgrim takes a cut and fouls it straight back. And Moeller will work ahead here to an 0-2 count. Jimmy Stout from the prospects holding on. Davis over on the first base side for WFBA. Ball is low, the count goes to 1-2. Moeller shaking off here on the call. Walters sets up the 1-2 pitch. Brock on the move. Throw down from Walters on target, but good speed. And 90 feet up to second base, and a ball called at the plate. Davis will move up to second in a stolen bag, and Pilgrim steps in with the 2-2 count. So Brock over at second. Barbarena for the prospects in tight on him. Moeller still working from the stretch with a 2-2 count on Pilgrim. Swing and a miss, strike three. So Moeller able to come back there and get the K. So 2 Ks and a walk, and that'll bring up the 4-hitter. Toro comes in as the DH with Brock over on the second base side. Barberena in his back pocket. And Moeller stepping off. A little confusion there. Perhaps Barberena looked like he had a big step behind him covering the bag, and Moeller was holding, but he stepped off and reset. And a strike called. Good location there on the outer third of the plate. And Moeller with an 0-1 count. Moeller takes a long look. Barberena shuffling around. He'll range back up. Swing and a miss there. Good movement there for Moeller. And working ahead here with 2 outs and an 0-2 count. First base side, Jimmy Stout, he'll handle it himself and take care of it. They'll strand one, the prospects. A good inning for Moeller. And we're through 1 frame. We'll head to the top of the second, no score. Pool play game number 3. Bracket play will be coming up later today and in tomorrow, Championship Monday. Stay with us. You're enjoying the 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT. We'll be right back. Barberena pulls the trigger and takes a big cut to the right side and fouls things off. And Coach Ronnie down to first base. And Barberena ready to go here. The count is 0-1. Miller ready to deal, pitch on the way. Ball is out, the count goes even to 1-1. And a ball in, strike called, and a ball and 2 strikes on Barberena. Ball sliding into the zone there in the slot for the call to be made. The 1-2 pitch, and that ball gets away. The count goes to 2-2. And a ball low, breaking on the inside part of the plate. Barberena not biting there. And the count goes full to 3-2. Hey, guys, no. Barberena right side again, pulls the trigger deep. And out of play, and a full count holds. And Barberena will step out. He'll reload here. And a ball up, ball four. Barberena disciplined at the plate. Finds himself on board with a walk. And the prospects here in the top of the second frame with no score puts the man on. Trey Lawrence will step in. Pilgrim holds him on at first. And Lawrence takes a look, and the count is 1-0. So Barberena hitting in the 4 spot brings Trey up in the 5 hole. The 1-0 pitch, ball's out. Barberena coming back, and the count goes to 2-0. And a ball gets away, a good stop behind the plate. Polanski able to glove that up as the ball was moved off of the bag, off a home plate. And count goes to 3-0. So Lawrence, very disciplined hitter at the plate here, probably taking all the way. And a strike called there. So Miller has to throw the strike, and the count's 3-1. Still a hitter's count here for Trey Lawrence. Barberena with a decent lead over at first. Runners on the move, ball 4. So Barberena will move up regardless, but he got a stolen bag out of it on ball 4. He was 90 feet up the line, already to second. So Lawrence gets on with a walk, and that puts runners at first and second for the prospects. Stepping in, Brody Taylor. Righty-lefty matchup here. Miller takes a long look at second. Pitch on the way. Taylor, and that ball gets away, hit by pitch, so on board. Dead ball at the plate. And Taylor will head down to first, and that'll load the bases for Jimmy Stout. A quick visit out to the mound to talk to Miller. And the prospects knocking on the door here, the top of the second. We'll be right back. So we're ready to go. Jimmy Stout will step in, and the bases are juiced here in the top of the second. Miller ready to go. Ball is low, and the count is 1-0. And low on the inner third. Miller missing there, and the count goes to 2-0. So Stout just looking for a good pitch here. A solid knock anywhere could bring 2 across with the bases loaded. And a ball is out. The count's 3-0. So Miller in a little bit of trouble here and heading out to the bump. Polanski, have a quick word with him. Just trying to settle his pitcher down, and Stout will step back in. A 3-0 count. Gary, our head umpire, puts it in play. Polanski sets up ball 4. So that'll walk a run in, and coming in from third is Barbarena, as Stout will head down to first on board with a walk. And perhaps a pitching change coming forth, maybe one more batter for Miller. And the prospects strike first and bring 2 across. Correction there, 1 run. And it looks like some shuttling of players moving around. Coach having a word with Miller as the trains here in Baton Rouge are rolling by. So that's going to be it for Miller. They're going to make a pitching change here. Braxton Souther wears number 13, and he'll come in and get some warm-up tosses. Pitching change. We'll stay with you. Be right back. It's tough. Well, back to live action. We're ready to go here. Brandon Manavong will step in. Manavong ready to go. Manavong jammed on the pitch there and right to the pitcher. And like that, 1 out. So Manavong like to have that back. And stepping in, Dre Murakami. So Murakami steps in, ready to go. Base is still loaded. Pitch on the way. Murakami swing and a miss there. And the count is 1-0. 1 out, top of the second. 1 run walked in. Pitch on the way. Murakami again, swing and a miss on the outside. And the count is 0-2. Ball low, the count goes to 1-2. So Murakami steps back in with a ball and 2 strikes. We're here in the top of the second frame. 1-0 on a walked-in run. Pitch on the way, ball is low. Good stop behind the plate. And the count goes even to 2-2. Trey Lawrence over on the third base side. Brody Taylor at second and Jimmy Stout on the first base side with 1 out. Braxton Southern taking over for Max Miller. And a 2-2 count here. Pitch on the way. Ball is low and everybody will stay put. And the count goes full at 3-2. So Murakami will step back in. The count is full at 3-2. Head umpire Gary puts it in play. The 3-2 pitch upstairs, ball 4. So just missing up and in on Murakami, and he'll find himself on board with a walk, and Trey Lawrence will come in. So the Prospects will pick up their second run, 2 walked-in runs, and Cameron Walters will step in. Walters catching for the club, works in tandem with Mateo Victorio. And a strike up the middle there, so Southern will locate, and the count is 0-1. And a good bunt laid down at home plate. Safe at home, and like that, Cameron Walters. So he wasn't on the plate, and unfortunately the run will score, and Walters moves up to first base. So they're going to run for Cameron Walters, the catcher of record, and Mason Moeller will come in, and he'll park himself at first base. Back to the top of the order in Charlie Blaylock. Blaylock, left side. Good effort on the shortstop side. That gets through. Here comes Jimmy Stout. They'll shut everybody down, and Blaylock gets on board with a single and an RBI. So the Prospects put 4 up, and Victorio steps in. Ball just missing on the inside, and the count is 1-0. Murakami over at third, Moeller at second, and Blaylock at first. Pitch on the way. Ball's upstairs. The count goes to 2-0. And a strike. Southern brings it inside and gets the call. And the count is 2-1. And a strike outside. So Southern makes the adjustment, runs it out, and Victorio lays off. And the count gets even to 2-2 with 1 out. Victorio cuts it foul and out of play. And hit by pitch there. Southern like to have that pitch back with the bases juiced. And Victorio finds himself on board. And a hit by pitch, and the run will come over. So the Prospects here in the top of the second frame put 5 up, and Jordan Leon will step in. And slider off the plate, good pitch there for the strike called. The count's 0-1. Ball's cut foul to the right side and out of play. And a ball just breaking low on the outside part of the plate. The count is 1-2. And Leon disciplined here, looking for his pitch. The base is loaded with 1 out. And a ball ripped foul to the left side. And the count will hold it a ball and 2 strikes. So Southern goes upstairs and Leon pulls it foul. And a ball is up, and the count goes even to 2-2. So Jordan steps back in, bases loaded. 5-0 Prospects. Good stop behind the plate. Polanski keeping things in front of himself, and the count goes full at 3-2. So Leon being patient at the box here. And ball 4, so the Prospects, with the bases loaded and a walk to Leon, will pick up their 6th run. And everybody's covering across again. The bases remain loaded, and Blake Barbarena will step in. 1 out if you're just joining us here. We welcome you. 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT. So Braxton Southern taking over for Max Miller. In a little bit of trouble here. And a 2-0 count on the outside part of the plate. And a visit out to the bump. That might be short work perhaps for Southern. We shall see. It looks like there could be a pitching change here forthcoming. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So a pitching change made here as Braxton Southern took over for Miller, and stepping in now is Henry Brown. Brown, a right-hander, will get a couple of tosses to warm things up for himself and be ready to go. Well, once again, you're enjoying the 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT here. Chris Allard with the call. It's always a pleasure calling these games and these excellent tournaments. These Super NITs, you win one, you get an automatic bid into the National Championship later this season. Also like to recognize some folks, just everybody doing some great work late and behind the scenes with Perfect Game. And it's good to see some players out that hasn't been out for a while. Trey Lawrence doing his thing. Carter Nash not here this weekend. Easton O'Quinn as well for the Prospects. And a new acquisition for the Prospects in 2025, Jordan Leon. Well, to learn more about what's going on in the world of Perfect Game, tournaments in and around your area, your state, or your region, learn more about PG events. Go to perfectgame.org. Showcases and, of course, Super NITs, opportunities to get into the 25 National Championship, that tournament later in the season, as I mentioned. Lots of great baseball here in the 2025 spring season heading into summer, and we hope you're enjoying it thus far. Well, the table's set. Gary, our head umpire, will put it back in play. We're ready to go here. Brown ready to deal. Pitch on the way. Ball missing there. The count goes to 3-0. So Barbarena with a 3-0 count. Braxton Southern owns the batter, Barbarena, if you're keeping an official score here. Ball's deep, center field. Center fielder backing up. A good route underneath the ball. He pulls it in. Tagging up from third is Blaylock. A long throw in. They'll cut it. And like that, Barbarena, deep fly ball, sac fly, and gets the run across. So no tag up from second, I guess. So Carlos Avila and Steve, our infield umpire, Gary there verify. So no run scored and no tag at second.
It was not, the force was off. Once he catches the ball, the force was off. You have one, this run scored.
Runner at second and tag?
Huh? No, run at second in tag. So the run from third counts.
Yes, sir.
That run scored.
So Barberena, with the flyout, the run will count, and then unfortunately the tag up at second didn't happen, so they called the out there. That ended the inning. If you're wondering why the prospects are on the defensive side. And a pitching change. Monster Victorio. Mateo Victorio will step in, and he'll take over. Mason Moeller doing a fine job for the prospects, and Victorio coming in to do a little bit of pitching. Is a versatile player, as you know. He catches and plays some first base. He can move around the field for you. Kind of player that utility guy across the board and an excellent athlete. So Victoria will get some warm-up tosses. We'll be ready to go. Bottom of the second frame. Prospects leading this one 7-0. Chris Allard with the call. We'll be right back.
What's his name?
Well, we're ready to go. Getting things started here in the bottom of the second frame. Polanski will start things off. Nate hitting in the 5 spot. They go 5, 6, 7 here in the bottom of the second. Victorio taking over on the mound for Moeller, who did a fine job for the club. We're ready to go. Walters sets up. And the ball's cut foul and out of play. And the count is 0-1. So Polanski takes a cut on the first pitch from Victorio. Gary puts it in play. We're ready to go here. And Victorio going into the lower part of the plate. So a 2-1 count to the catcher Polanski. The 2-1 pitch. Ball's cut foul straight back. So a good cut for Polanski, and Victoria will even things up at 2-2. And a ball cut foul again. So Polanski hanging in there. So Polanski steps back in, 2-2 count. Third base side, Barberena, good gather, throw across the deck in time. 5-3 put out on the official scorecard. Barberena to Stout. So the prospects take care of the 5-hitter, and Tyler Rhodes will step in. Tyler hitting in the 6th spot. And a strike on the inside part of the plate. Victoria able to locate. He'll work ahead. The count is 0-1. And back to back, another strike. Rhodes takes a look, and the call at the plate, 0-2. And a ball cut foul. Jimmy Stout, they're moving off the bags there, and Stout pulls it in. And Stout shuffling the deck around the WFBA player who was just ready on the on-deck spot. And Jimmy pulls it in. Excellent grab there. So Stout takes care of business there with 2 outs. And Tanner Brock will step in. So a strike called at the plate on a foul ball. And a good pitch there, slider. And the count's 0-2. And upstairs, Victoria takes care of business there. And Tanner Brock will have a seat. The prospects showing some good defensive work for their club. We're through 2 frames. Prospects lead this one 7-0. We'll head to the top of the 3rd. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Trey Lawrence steps in, ready to go. Slider off the plate. Count is 0-1. Lawrence, that ball is hit hard. That ball's deep, but hung up in the air. And Lawrence gets a good barrel. And the left fielder, the route to his left side, is able to pull it in. They get their first out. Stepping in, Brody Taylor. And Taylor not biting there. The count is 0-1. Correction, 1-0. And a strike there, the adjustment made. So Brown makes the adjustment, and the count goes to 1-1. And hit by pitch, Brody Taylor gets on board. And Taylor finds himself on board at first. Jimmy Stout will step in. Ball off the plate, the count goes to 1-0. Runner on the move, throw down a one-hopper, and in time is Brody Taylor. So stolen bag for Taylor. And a 2-0 count to Jimmy Stout. And a ball up, the count goes to 3-0. Stout right side, everybody's moving off the field on the fence line, and Pilgrim rolled off of first, and no play there, out of play. And the count goes to 3-1. And Stout another cut foul. And a full count at 3-2. The 3-2 pitch, Taylor at second, one out. From the stretch, a long look. Pitch on the way. Stout right side, and everybody's charging here, right fielder. That ball's going to drop in. Stout will end up with a single at first, and Brody Taylor moves up 90 feet to third as the ball drops in over on the right field side. So runners at the corners for Brandon Manavong. And a throw over to Pilgrim over on the first base side, and Stout gets back in time. And hit by pitch, Manavong takes one and gets down the hard way. And will find himself on board with the bases loaded, and Dre Murakami will step in. So Murakami steps in, and pitch on the way. And a strike call, Murakami takes a look, and the count is 0-1. Ball out, the count goes to 1-1. 3:15 local time here on Sunday afternoon. Pitch on the way. Hit by pitch. Murakami didn't like that one. He got tagged there. And the hard 90 for Murakami as he hobbles down to the first base side. So another hit by pitch, and that'll bring over the 8th run. So Murakami taking a couple of extra steps down the first base line. They'll make sure he's good. Steve, the infield umpire, says, all right, you good? And we're ready to roll here. Thumbs up across the board for our umpires managing the game here. Gary behind the plate and Steve working on the infield. Excellent combination here. And we're ready to go. Walters steps in. Bases remain loaded. Ball is out. The count's 1-0. And just missing. Southern runs it outside. And the count is 2-0. Murakami, Manavong, Stout. First, second, third. Pitch on the way. Ball gets away. That's a tough play there. They're going to hold everybody up. A good rebound, though. Right into Southern's hands. He rolled off the mound there, and the carom went right to him. So everybody stays put. A 3-0 count. And a 3-0 count here for Walters as he steps back in. Strike called. Walters taking all the way. So Braxton able to make the adjustment, gets the strike called. Hitters count for Walters at 3-1. High fly ball behind home plate. And the ball came to us. How special was that? I got a souvenir. That ball actually came into the caged area where we're at. And we'll hang on to that one. And ball 4, so that'll walk in a run in Jimmy Stout on a 3-2 count. So Stout will come across. Walters on board with a walk. The 9th run comes over here. So a pitching change. And Langhan will take over, the right-hander. Stay with us, we'll be right back. And back to live action here. 9 runs here on the official card as Charlie Blaylock back to the top of the order with the bases loaded. And Charlie looks at a strike. Will Lehan taking over, right-handed pitcher, works ahead. And the count is 0-1. And a strike outside. Blaylock takes a look. And the count is 0-2. So Will steps in, takes over, works ahead here on Blaylock at 0-2. Charlie left side, line shot there. And a broken throw there. That's going to score a run. Here comes the 10th in Manavong. They were trying to get the force from third base to second as Murakami was off the bag. And the ball got thrown through on the second base side. So the 10th run comes over. And runners are at the corners. Victoria steps in with 2 outs. And the count is 1-0. We're in the top of the third. Mason Moeller over on the first base side. Correction, second. And a strike there. Langhan locates, and the count is 1-1. Murakami at third. Moeller running at second. And Victorio cut foul straight back and out of play. So 1-2 count to Neteo with 2 outs here. We're in the top of the third. Victorio again fouls it straight back and staying alive here and active in the box. So prospects trying to extend the inning here. Linghan and his crew trying to get out of it. And hit by pitch, so Victorio gets tagged. And a lot of runners here today gets down the hard way for the Prospects Club, being hit by pitches. So that'll load the bases up for Jordan Leon. So Jordan will step in. And they're going to run for Victorio, and Moeller will come back out. Correction, Henry Kuhnsteller will do some running. So Kuhnsteller over on the first base side. Henry, primary pitcher, he's got a great arm, solid player. Do some running here. Leon ready to go. And a ball caroms off. Nobody's on the move again. Pitcher able to come off the mound, and with a concrete wall, the ball can go anywhere. This time it went right back to the pitcher, Langhorn. The count is 1-0. And a ball out. The count goes to 2-0. And a ball's cut foul over to the ZT dugout. Coach Carlos and the skipper had to drop down there quickly. And that'll shuffle everybody a little closer inside the gates. And the count is 2-1. Left side, good grab, gets knocked down from the third baseman, no play. So down the line quickly is Jordan Leon. He'll get on board with a single and an RBI. They pick up the 11th run here. So Barbarena will step in. Blake hits in the 4 spot, and the base is loaded. Leon, Kuhnsteller, and Muller on your bases, 1 through 3. Pitch on the way. And cut foul and out of play. And a ball upstairs, just missing. The count goes even to 1-1. Lights coming onto the field. We're pushing towards 3:30 in the afternoon, but we've got some high clouds and probably just prepping for later on throughout the afternoon and evening. Right side, that ball was pulled and crushed all the way to the top of the lights. A lot of power there for Barberena, and the count's 1-2. So Langhorne hanging that out there. And Barberena like to straighten that out. 2 outs, the 1-2 pitch. And that's it, strike 3, that'll do it. So Langhorne's got to come in, but the damage has been done. The prospects will head to the bottom of the 3rd. It's an 11-0 affair. We'll be right back. And starting things off here, well hit ball, just getting through. Blaylock lays it out, and they'll get a runner on. So Brown gets on board with a single, and that'll bring up Southern. No outs. Bottom of the 3rd. Ball's cut foul to the right side and out of play. So Braxton steps out, he reloads. Brown over on the first base side. Stout holds him on. From the stretch, Victoria will work. And the count goes to 1-1. Line shot. Little trouble there. They get one. Blaylock's got to get rid of it. And in time. So Jimmy Stout, a good effort though up the line. Southern laid it out. He went in head first, and Leon over on the second base side. Good gather, was able to underhand toss to Blaylock. And fired across the deck to Jimmy Stout. So a 4-6-3 on the books. And the Prospects taking care of business there. Ball's hit to the left side. Murakami backs up. That's over his head. And Murakami. And they're going to run the batter, Max Miller, ends up at second base with a stand-up double. Murakami looked like he was hobbling a little bit, and he's coming back a little slow here. I know he was hit by a pitch. And not sure what's going on there with Murakami coming back slow. And he's showing the coaches here that something's up with maybe his foot slipping, I'm not sure. Nonetheless, a runner on board with 2 outs, a double. And Brock steps in. And a strike, good location for Victoria. Will work ahead, the count is 0-1. And a good pitch, locates the outer part of the plate. And Victorio ahead here in the count at 0-2 on the 2-hitter Brock Davis. And a ball chopped foul at the plate. And the count will hold at 0-2. Brock steps back in with an 0-2 count on him. Walters steps up behind the plate. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball up and in. The count goes to 1-2 strikes. Slow roller, charging Manavong, a good glove there in time. So Brandon Manavong showing what he's got over on the third base side. They'll strand one, we'll turn it over. The Prospects lead this one 11-0. Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're enjoying the 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're at the Oak Villa Park. Chris Allard with the call, working with Leighton. Keeping things moving along with Perfect Game, Steve and Gary. We'll be right back. Well, back to live action as we're ready to roll here as we head to The top of the fourth frame, 11-0. Prospects. And Trey Lawrence will step in. Lawrence takes a swing, fouls it back, and the count is 0-1. And another cut there, swung straight back, fouled off. The count is 0-2. And another swing, fouled straight back. Lawrence left side, that ball's got tons of carry. And that ball's gone. A monster stroke for Trey Lawrence. And this kid put everything into it. Off the barrel, you knew it was gone, a no-doubter. So Lawrence goes yard on the left side and a solo home run. And the Prospects will pick up their 12th here on the solo shot for Trey Lawrence. And that'll bring up Brody Taylor. So Taylor will step in. Gary, our umpire, puts it in play. We're ready to go. And a ball missing out. The count goes to 1-0. Taylor pulled foul to the right side. And the count goes to 1-1. And a ball missing out. The count goes to 2-1. Brody Taylor with the bases empty. The Prospects 5, 6, 7. Lawrence starting off in the 5 spot, leading off, solo shot. And a ball's upstairs. The count goes to 3-1. So Taylor being disciplined at the plate, just looking for his pitch. Sitting in a hitter's count at 3-1. And Taylor takes a cut. Will gets it through. The count goes to 3-2. Ball upstairs, ball 4. So Taylor finds himself on board with a walk, and that'll bring up Jimmy Stout. We're in the top of the 4th frame. We're through 3 complete, 12-0 Prospects. Jimmy, deep. Left field, that ball's in the gap, the power alley. And that ball is gone. So Jimmy Stout gets into the action here this afternoon. Pulls the trigger in the power alley left center. That baby was deep and gone. He goes yard to add on. And a 2-run bomb. So the Prospects with Stout. Some big swinging here going on this afternoon. A home run. They pick up runs 13 and 14. So the Prospects, and then the long ball with Jimmy Stout and Trey Lawrence will bring up Brandon Manavong. So Manavong will step in with the bags empty, with no outs. We're in the top of the 4th. Manavong, shallow, shortstop, ranges up, rolling off, and that ball drops in between short and center fielder. And the shortstop and center fielder charging, but Manavong gets on board. And that'll bring up Dre Murakami. Murakami was hit by pitch. And now he'll step back in. Pilgrim holds Manavong on. Strike called. Will comes inside. And the count is 0-1. And a ball up, the count goes to 1-1. And a strike outside. And the count is 1-2. Murakami, second baseman, they go one there. They get the force and safe. And they're saying no. People are looking for a transfer call, and Steve, the umpire on the infield, makes the call, and there was no control of the ball there, so Manavong gets in safely. So Murakami at first, Manavong at second, and back here, Cameron Walters will step in. No outs here. Top of 4. Ball's out, the count's 1-0. They're going to bring in Kunsteller to run for Murakami. So Henry takes over for Murakami at first. Defense ranged up here, no outs. Walters steps in. Manavong at second, pitch on the way. Hard hit ball, third base side, rounding hard. Manavong coming around the corner at third, a long throw in. They'll cut it there, and everybody stays put. So Walters with a rip down the third base side. Gets him on board with a single and an RBI. So the Prospects pick up their 15th run with no outs. And Walters is going to come off of first base. They're going to run for Cameron. He's catching for the club in this game, and they're going to bring in Mason Moeller. So a pitching change forthcoming here. Another movement for the West Florida Baseball Academy. Jersey Pilgrim, the right-hander. He's a first baseman. He'll take over on the mound. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So Charlie Blaylock looks at a ball. The count is 1-0. Pilgrim taking over on the mound for Will Leghorn. Pitch on the way. Ball back up the middle into center field, and rounding hard is Kunsteller. They're going to throw it in. A long throw, and Kunsteller will score. So Henry gets his work in, doing some laps around the bases, and he'll score. So Blaylock on board with a single and gets the RBI. The Prospects pick up their 16th run here in the top of the fourth frame. So Victoria will step back in. Moeller over at second, Blaylock at first. And Victoria steps in with no outs. And the count is 1-0. Victoria, that ball's deep, right side, right center. That ball's got carry. And on the fence line, but that's going to bring two over. Victorio's going to shut it down at second. Here comes Moeller. Here comes Blaylock. A stand-up double and two-shot RBI. That ball looks like it was headed out of here. A well-hit ball, but Victoria all the way to the fence line. Ends up with a double, and they pick up runs 17 and 18. So the bases are cleared. And Jordan Leon will step in. And Jordan looks at ball one. The count is 1-0. And a ball is low off the backstop. Victoria will head over to third as it bounces at the plate there. And the count is 2-0. So opportunity for Jordan Leon to pick one up. Pulled foul to the left side over to the dugout for the Prospects, and the count goes to 2-1. So Jordan steps back in. Victorio at third. And Jordan gets away from that one. As Pilgrim comes inside, the count goes to 3-1. And pulled foul again to the left side. Barberena on deck looking at Jordan like, hey man, take it easy on me. Well, the count goes full at 3-2 as Leon steps back in. And ball four, so Jordan will find himself on board. And Pilgrim administering the walk there. Runners at the corners for Blake Barberena. Barberena right side, that ball will drop in down the first base line all the way to the field line. A little bobble and right. Here comes one in Victorio. And they're going to run in hard here. Leon's going into third base. The tag is on. So Barberena try to get extras, but he'll still get a two-shot RBI out of the deal. Leon scores and Victorio. So they pick up runs 19 and 20. And the bases are cleared. One out. Trey Lawrence steps in. And Lawrence takes one. He'll wear that and head down 90 feet to first. And Trey finds himself down on the first base side. Brody Taylor will step in. Taylor, right side, one hopper, a line shot. They could have a play back at first. And Lawrence gets back in time, but a good grab over on the second base side. So well played there. So Max Miller gets a line drive shot right to his glove. And they pick up their second out. Good effort trying to throw back to first. But Trey Lawrence gets back in time. Jimmy Stout, he'll step back in. And a strike called there. Pilgrim works ahead. The count's 0-1. And Jimmy takes a cut on the inside pitch, fouls it straight back. And the count is 0-2. And strike three called there. They'll do it. They get out of the inning. They'll get to the bottom half. As the Prospects, they lead this one 20-0. They opened it wide up here. We'll be right back, bottom of the fourth. Well, we're ready to go here, back to live action. We're in the bottom of the fourth. And the Prospects getting a lot of production out of their offensive team. Some long balls, some doubles, triples, singles, a lot of good stuff happening. Some runs walked in. Overall, a lot going on. Pilgrim steps in, facing Victorio. And Nateo just missing outside. The count is 1-0. 3, 4, 5 hitters as Victorio goes low. Jersey plays first base, took over pitching for Will, who took over for Max Miller. And a strike called there, so Victorio makes the adjustment, elevates the pitch, and the count goes to 2-1. And big cut for Pilgrim. That thing's out of here. Foul ball. So Jersey takes a rip, and the count goes to 2-2. And Victorio, strike three call. So Victorio will get to K in the first out for the Prospects. And that'll bring up Toro. Toro comes in as the DH. Ball low, the count's 1-0. Back up the middle, a well-hit ball. Toro gets on board with a single. Right back just out over the top of Nateo Victorio, right over his head. And on board with a single. So Polanski, the 5-hitter, will step in. Nate doing a fine job for his club catching. And he's got Toro over on first with Jimmy Stout holding him on. And a good pitch there. Victorio works ahead. The count is 0-1. And laid off there. And the count goes to 1-1. And a ball in tight inside. Polanski not biting there, and the count goes to 2-1. He's got Toro over on first base. Throw back over and swipe tag for Jimmy Stout, and Toro gets back in time. High fly ball, center field. Trey Lawrence makes the adjustment, and he'll pull it in. Toro will head back to first, a long fly out. And Lawrence takes care of business in the second out for the Prospects. Tyler Rhodes steps in, 6-hitter. Toro still parked over on the first base side. And Victorio locates, gets the outside part of the plate and work with a strike here. And the count is 0-1. And outside of the reach, Jordan Leon. Jordan elevated, and a well-hit ball for Tyler Rhodes, and finds himself on board with a single. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th frame. Stepping in, Tanner Brock. Correction, number 59, Lucas Cardelis. Lucas will step in. So Lucas ready to go here with Toro at second and Rhodes at first. High fly ball. Charlie Blaylock and everybody releasing from the third base side, and out in left field, Brandon Manavong. He's out in left right now as Murakami took that pitch off of his foot area, and probably a little tender there, a little sore. And the count is 0-1. Time is called. Granted at the plate. Throw back to first, a bad throw there. And Toro finds his way at third, and the Prospects did not want that. So runners at the corners with 2 outs and a count of 0-1 on the batter. Batter Lucas. And that gets away, so Victorio now. A little bit of trouble here, and the count is 1-1. Swing and a miss outside. Victorio makes the adjustment. The count goes to 1-2. WFBA down to their final strike here with 2 outs. The 1-2 pitch. Ball's upstairs. The count goes to 2-2. So the Prospects just looking for the out, and they'll close this thing out here. Lucas steps back in. And a ball fouled off. The count holds it 2-2. So Lucas steps back in with a 2-2 count in 2 outs. Victorio, swing and a miss, strike 3. The Prospects, heavy production out of them this afternoon. They take this one in fine fashion, a 20-0 affair. WFBA will move on. This is the final pool play game for the ZT Prospects 14U national team. And bracket play will begin later today and into tomorrow. We'll be bringing those games to you. Chris Aller with the call. Special thanks to Gary, our head umpire, Steve, his partner on the infield, and Leighton from Perfect Game keeping score moving along. We appreciate everybody's work and another great matchup here. But the Prospects, they play the long game. Stout, Lawrence, they go deep, and everybody else making their contributions here. The 2025 Perfect Game Super Regional NIT. This one's in the books. Chris Aller with the call. Have a wonderful afternoon this Sunday. We'll bring you more baseball later on throughout the course of this tournament heading into Championship Monday. For now, this one's officially in the books. So long.